Good morning.
Stuffy in here. Yep, and then I'll just sign it out.
You have to mute.
Now we're in the moonlight zone.
Leashing the Kraken.
Who said council meetings are bound? You call it entertainment.
Just bring it up, girl, and two, really.
That's it. On the table. I didn't, no, it's not. You're good.
Is it ready? All right, good morning, 9 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. We start with our usual short land acknowledgement. We acknowledge Indigenous peoples and the ancestors whose lands we now share. We'll move to 2.0, adoption of the agenda. There's a couple of additions on page 2. And one addition in the info package. Any further additions?
Yeah, I would like to add, maybe under 6.11E, the Lackawanna Economic Development Committee,
Okay,
please.
okay, no further additions. Have a motion to accept the agenda with the additions. Councillor Thies, all in favor? It's carried. Minutes from June 24th, are there for your review. Any discussion arising from them? Errors, corrections? Not have a motion to adopt the minutes. Councillor Deacon, all in favor? It's carried. Move down to 4.0, delegations, and we have one right off the get-go here this morning with I Want Wireless. I'm here to join us this morning, so if you want to move up to our delegation table. And welcome. So we'll just quickly do an introduction to the council, and then we'll turn it over to you. Can introduce yourselves and give your presentation. So I'll start with my fellow.
Hi, Keelan Sugar, represent Warrensville, Lackawanna in the southern half of the county.
Gary Days, Weberville, Southern Afton.
Glory Deck and North Star Breaking Point, 1-5.
Terry Ungarian, Ward 6, I'm just north of Manning here.
Good morning, I'm Sticking on the CAO.
Teresa
I live in town.
Second, this is Linda Helvisky, further north than Terry, Neighborhood Partnership. 1-7.
Grand Grease, Deadwood, Sunny Valley, right in the middle.
Brenda
Nice.
Yusinski,
Oh,
Brenda
sorry.
Yusinski, County of, Ward 3, Dixonville, Chinook Valley, online today.
Wonderful.
Okay.
It's nice to meet all of you. I'm Megan LeMay.
Glenn Moore, we are from DeBolt. So unusual for a internet company to be formed in DeBolt. But I'll give you a little bit of a history. We started Ungariant Wireless almost 20 years ago now. And the reason we started it is it's a long story, but we had Buffalo and then BSE hit. And so we had to shoot all the Buffalo. And then we had this piece of property along the highway. So we thought, well, we got to do something with it. Maybe we'll get a acreage subdivision going there. Started an acreage subdivision and we thought, well, geez, you know, if we're going to sell these lots, we got to have some internet. So we looked around to find somebody that would put some internet in there and nobody would come. So I said to Shelley, well, this can't be that complicated.
Famous last words.
Famous last words, right? If we're all living in the country. And so we started an internet company. We've got 52 lots in our subdivision. And I think there's still about 38 of them that are vacant. Colossal failure. But of the ones that are full, my daughter and her husband and son live there. My son and his wife and 2 girls live there. And my youngest daughter live in the subdivision. So it was a great success for starting our own little Keurig colony. And the internet company that we started now spreads all over the Peace Country. And our vision, I guess, stays the same as it was back when we started. We just knew that my family settled in DeBolt. Well, my great-grandfather's name was DeBolt. So we got some history around, as many of you do, I'm sure. But the vision was that if we don't do something to keep our communities alive, they'll be gone. You can go through a whole bunch of communities in the Peace Country and they just don't exist anymore. And the biggest reason they don't exist is the young people are just moving out and going somewhere else, and they go somewhere else, usually for jobs and stuff. But now the trend is changing. We had a software company that we just sold to a US firm and stuff because it was doing very well. Anyway, long and the short of it was we had just about 100 employees in that software company, and every one of them was remote. And we had people that lived in Ottawa that moved to Newfoundland because they could live for a quarter of the price over there, and they just worked remote. And for us, we think that people can live in North Star and work for a company that, as long as they have really, really solid internet. We went to the hotel over here at, what's the name of this hotel?
The Nova.
The Nova. We stayed at the Nova, and the young fella checking us in, we were talking to him about the internet because we're going to hook up the Nova here with our service because they got, what's that guy's name over, that friend of yours from South Africa?
Oh, you know.
They got Elon service and it's poor. And you know, people will drive right past a great hotel to a poor hotel to get good internet because they got to do all their work at night. And so they know that. So they're getting our service not only here, but in Peace River as well. So the young fellow there checking us in, he just got here. He
Vancouver.
moved from Vancouver. No, his parents moved to Edmonton with him, and then he actually said, they asked me to leave because you're old enough, you got to get on your own. So the poor little bugger, he's up here working but he's working he's doing a software program
Yeah.
and building that on the side while he's up here working at the hotel, putting in hours and stuff like that. But he said, I kind of like it. I thought I'd just come up here for a job, but I really like it up here. He would stay and be a valuable member of the community as long as we got internet. Anyway, that's my sales pitch, and it's not about I Want Wireless. It's about, I read your business development plan because I don't sleep much anymore. I read this one and then the new one, and you can go in there and hit one thing and hit search, and it doesn't say internet anywhere. I'm here to sell you guys that whether it's I Want Wireless or whoever, we got to start talking internet. Internet, the number one thing that people look at when they look at buying a place outside of a city, and now even in the city, what kind of internet service can I get? And if they can't get really great internet, they just don't move. But if they can, then they start asking about, well, what's the water like? What's the gas like? All the other stuff, but internet's number one. So we're doing stuff here in Manning, and we did stuff through the federal and the provincial program. It was originally a federal program, then it became a partnership with the province as well. And I know you've got other service providers, or one other service provider that's doing a great job as well. And we compete with them in a number of First Nations locations. They do a good job. There's a little difference between us and them in that what we do, we just feel that we've been doing this long enough that if we're going to stay relative, what used to happen was you had I remember going out and hooking up people, and we'd give them like a 1 meg service, and the old man wouldn't want anything, but the wife would want it. And I'd go and I'd get the old man, I'd take him to Ritchie Brothers, and I'd show him, look, and he'd be getting, oh, great. And he'd be just excited about it because they found something that he could use, right? Well, pretty soon Ritchie Brothers has got 5 videos coming up, and your service don't work anymore. And that's continued. Now to the point where when the government came to us, they said they want a minimum of 50 and 10. And I remember seeing that come out probably 5-6 years ago, that the feds wanted 50 and 10 as a minimum speeds. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. It's way too high, and we'd never be able to provide that to all the rural areas. Technology changed. We bid on all of this stuff, and we bid on the first program, got that and a whole bunch of stuff south of you guys. But our only tower that we got up here was in Manning, and then some stuff right on the edge. And then they came back and asked us if we wanted to bid on another chunk, which we'll go through here as well. So we're doing that as well. We haven't signed the deal yet, but it's done. They're crossing all the i's, and then the election. Let's not talk about the election, but the election slowed down that process of getting stuff signed, but it's going to be signed shortly. And the reason that they came back to us is we didn't deliver 50 and 10. We're delivering 1,000 and 100, 200 kind of a thing. Our speeds are so much faster, and the reason that makes a difference is what happens with the internet is when it's like a freeway, and stuff really works good when there's 3 or 4 vehicles going down the freeway. As soon as there's 40, then it starts getting tight. But if you put a certain number on, what happens is it's not that the flow isn't good enough or the width of the highway changed at all. It's that there's so much going through it that it slows down, and then it just starts backing up. And that's what the internet does. If it can't send something once, it sends it again, and it just keeps repeating. But as soon as it starts backing up, you're hooped. It's done. So what we've done here is we've got now into Manning. I guarantee that Manning has never had this much internet ever. We've got a 10 gig pipe coming in to Manning right now. 2 years ago, we ran our whole network, the entire Peace Country, on about 1.5 gig. So just Manning now has 10, and just DeBolt has 10, and just Grand Prairie. And so and it's not because it's because we got some of this federal and provincial money that we're able to do some of the infrastructure stuff. But the big thing is the internet and the gigabits that we used to buy, it's a race to zero. It's just because Google and Amazon and all those guys, they understand that if people, the cheaper they can make the internet, the more money people to spend with. And so they're just driving the price down. So we're able to get it a lot more cost effectively. Plus the feds and stuff have changed some rules on the way that radio waves are sold and auctioned and stuff that make it for smaller companies like us to be able to buy the things and get that. So that's kind of the start of the story on what we're going to do. We're going to do this because we've already committed to it, or we're about to commit several millions of dollars of our own money, plus a whole bunch of money that you guys already paid the taxes to the federal and the provincial government that they're going to put back into your community. So we're going to do this. But what we really want from you guys is a partnership. We believe that everywhere we go, if we're working with the local governments and stuff, it's just better for the constituents, and we get better stuff happening there. So if we can start that thing at the front there, and I'll just go through, I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, we have it on ours.
You have it on your screens? Okay, I can hardly read it, but, oh, there you go. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All right. So there's a few different things that we based our business around, and it's not what. Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.
There we go. Now we know.
Yeah.
So the few things that we based our business around, it's not really about
The internet at all.
yeah, we think that we're big on living in the country. And some of the things that we have as beliefs, if we can go to the next page there, I should probably have the button there. This is a big one for me. We got grandkids. Next one. This one here is this morning. I'm sitting here, right here, and my phone beeps, as many of you heard, and I get a message, and it's from Melanin Ross or something like that. And she's, hello, Glenn, I just received your order. Want to confirm that your 60-month membership under PayPal is needs to be renewed. And it's $366. And here's the client number, and here's the email address, and it's a Pro Plus plan, and it's 60 months. And to manage or cancel, just give us a call on this or hit this. It's garbage. It's somebody, and I'm good at this. This is very effective. You hit this link, your phone's contaminated, you phone this number, they get on there and tell you all this song and dance about, and they're good at it. And they rip off our seniors regularly. I'm going to tell this story whether it's politically correct or not.
Here we go.
We get seniors phone and they get these things and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
When they phone I Want Wireless, we sent them back an email saying, hey, if they're doing this, phone us, phone our office.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between us and Starlink or TELUS or any of the big guys, you phone them, there's nobody there. What Megan sent back was, when you phone our office, you'll know that you've got somebody at I Want Wireless by our distinct bold accent. We don't hire out our stuff. We actually answer the phone. And then when somebody phones and says, is this real? We teach them how to look at, hey, look at this person's actual email address.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, and click the button and see, and it's like this alphabet, and then at Gmail, it's garbage.
To
It's garbage.
snowball too on what Glenn's saying, we built an app, you guys. So every one of our customers that's working with the new gear that we're working gets access to our app. In there's software that basically will tell 100% of our customers if something coming into their email, if a pop-up on their internet browser is if it's a phishing scam of some sort. And so if I open my app now, I can see all the times that it's blocked something that was fishy. And then if our son, who's 8, is watching YouTube Kids and something pops up, I will get a notification saying, hey, you have to accept this because we suspect that there's some kind of pernicious material or pornographic material that's about to be shown to your son. So for families, like, that's huge. We can't watch our kids 24/7. We can't look at every email that comes into everybody's inbox, but what we can do is we can put some software in place that protects the people that we love the most, right? And I think that the internet's really great. It's a useful tool, but it's also dangerous. And so to have some of those kind of tools in place to protect the people we're serving matters.
And you can also get in that app and you could set that your spouse can't go to eBay. You can restrict it, which is really good.
Of course, yeah.
Well, I told Shelley not to do that to me anymore, but anyway. Next one. This, during COVID, John, who's our son-in-law, who's the manager of Mount Wireless, he's setting up people, and there's people that can't afford the internet, and during COVID, especially the kids that couldn't go to school, we were setting up stuff all over the place where it was just free internet for kids to be able to do their stuff, whether it was at their home or in places that were open to, so that they could do stuff, because that was the reality of it. And I think that's still important that we have internet available so that kids, because now there's a couple of things that are happening is our schools, Ridge Valley in DeBolt, is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's not because there's not more kids. It's the kids are getting, their parents are taking them to Grand Prairie because they can't get all the courses they need to get into university. They can do that online. And we can do, I mean, they go to Grand Prairie to get these courses so they can go to university, and then they do the courses in university online. We can bloody well do it, and they can come and be part of the basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
And so those kinds of things where we keep our rural communities going by having good access to good internet, you can be educated and go elsewhere and not have to go elsewhere going out. Next one. Is that me? This is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
The Alberta government right now has got a program that I just read the report on that they've been doing for about 5 years. They are having people phone and talk to I'm not sure what level of nurse it is.
Practitioner?
Nurse practitioner or higher, I'm not sure, but it's a nurse practitioner at least. And they're talking to them, and instead of going into emergency, they're talking to these nurse practitioners saying, here's what I got. And they're able to take their phone, give it one of those, right? And do all the stuff that you can do now with video conferencing that, I mean, Brenda's watching this whole thing, couldn't do that very short time ago. All of that can be done for telemedicine. Our Alex's wife, Tanya, she woke up 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, had a sore throat and stuff, went on, talked to a doctor through this tele thing, diagnosed that, well, it looks like, and here's your symptoms, it looks like you may have a strep throat or something like that. Put the order in. Tanya's in Valley View, half an hour, 45 minutes from DeBolt, picking up the prescription at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's possible, but only with good internet. And so the way that we can make these kinds of things happen, I doubt that the Alberta government's going to build a new hospital in Manning, but they can put in stuff like this where you can talk to, and the future is where you'll be able to do all of your appointments and stuff virtually or online. I mean, right now, they're already testing stuff where you can do that with your phone, scan your body and make sure you get the right size blue jeans from Amazon. I mean, it's not going to be long, and we're doing that kind of stuff where you can get everything. I mean, our fridge, we got a fridge, it's got a scanner built in the front. You can run your peanut butter out when you run out, hit replace, and it'll show up the door. It's where the world's going. So, what we're going to do with this new plan, we're going to put about 2.4 million, is that what it is for this county?
That's probably a little low, but I didn't know if we'd need those extra couple hours. Yeah.
Okay. So where we're putting the towers, the service, we've already talked about that. But if we can click to the next slide, where when they came back to us, again, we had this first tower that's here in Manning. This first tower in Manning was to cover mostly the town of Manning, and then we're reaching out and within about the technology that we've got deployed here, within about 4 to 5 kilometers, it'll go through trees and behind buildings and do all kinds of wonderful stuff. So it's really, really good for densely populated areas like this, where, you know, you've got a bunch of people, and if there's a tree in between you and the tower, it doesn't matter. So it works really well for that. Plus, if it's somewhat of a clean line of sight, how far you got people out?
Our furthest house in Manning is 32 clicks away from our tower.
And what are we delivering to that?
They have a 500 meg service.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we couldn't have done this,
Mhm.
but the technology is that much better, right? So that's what we've got right now. This new program, we're going to put another tower in North Star. Went through there. Good idea on that, little mini homes there.
Yeah,
That looks kind of like,
and they're all full and kids playing in the yard.
yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like a nice little community now. And I was imagining what it looked like before you put those in. Pretty dead. So I don't know what's out there right now, but in probably the next I would think 6 months, they'll have the same kind of service that's available here in town out there as well as the surrounding area. There'll be that kind of service in there. The next spot we've got is all of the areas that are down around. I know you guys have got that partnership with the town of Peace River up the Weberville Road all the way to where it cuts. It's not Dashow anymore. What is it now?
Mercer Mill, yeah, okay.
So I know, and especially with all the talk you guys have been doing on the nuclear facilities and stuff like that, huge potential out there. But when we drive through there, there's either no service or all satellite service.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the satellite service is absolutely phenomenal compared to none. It's really, really good. It's not as good as ours, but it's compared to none, it's fantastic. So there's a place for it. I think once we're in most of those areas, there's a lot of reasons why our service is just better, including the local service. That's huge. Here in town, we've got Andy and Brandon. What's the name of their company?
Bits and Bytes.
Bits and Bytes.
Yeah.
So somebody phones from here and they need an install service with local technicians that we've just contracted with, and they're doing a bang up job looking after everybody here in the area and stuff. And they know everybody. That's the big thing. So the stuff that we're going to do down there, I look at one place there, we bought a whole bunch of towers from AB North that were just, and frankly, most of them are not of the quality that we would ever use for our system. However, they may be good quality for either the people that have them on their property right now, which we will likely sell to them for $1. The reason we bought them is we wanted some of the towers, but we bought them all because we just didn't want somebody coming in and buying a bunch of really, really cheap, poor towers and putting up cheap, poor services that just interfered with the frequencies. That was really not that complicated. So we get rid of some of those towers, but when we replace them with places where we've got to put 4 or 5 towers in, like we've got one in Aspen Grove Estates, that makes sense to have one in there because of the population density in there. Some of the other ones along there, like that Quarry Ridge and the Northridge County and the one up right up in the just about to the highway, the going across. What is that one called? There's another subdivision up there.
986.
986. Isn't there another subdivision just about to 986? I was driving all through there last week trying to,
Just to the south, or is it?
just to the south.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the area where we see where we would probably focus putting towers in those areas because we want that 4 kilometer range where we can just give really crazy good internet without line of sight. And then the other ones, and we put up the same kind of stuff as what we're putting in here, 150 to 170 foot towers likely. We're still doing the analysis on that once we finalize. But we've got one, like, for example, right on the highway there, and I was talking to Garrett about this, that you got a water station there. Well, we got a tower just this side of that water station at Tom. I can't remember Tom's last name. Anyway, but it's a 67-foot little trilog junk. We would never pay, you know.
So Glenn, great information you got us, but can you kind of maybe move?
I'll move really
to
quickly.
your partnership? So we got another delegation scheduled.
A partnership is on those places like at the water treatment plant. We'd rather put it up on your property, a new tower, rather than on somebody else's private property. And we'd like to do that everywhere because then we've got a partnership. The final reason for that is that if we came and we put fiber optics all over your county, do you know what you'd charge us for taxes? 0, because it's a utility. However, sometimes when we put towers up, some over aggressive tax assessor comes along and says, oh, that's just like a TELUS tower. So that's $300,000 and we're going to tax you $5,000. And well, we got 42 customers on this. It doesn't make sense. The reason the feds in the province are subsidizing this is because it doesn't make sense. We need to do something about the tower things. And if we put it on your property, we'd probably get away with not having a bunch of tax things that we have to deal with. And at the same time, you probably want to be able to monitor those water stations and do stuff so we can supply the internet going into there. The other way that you can do it is with Clear Hills County has got a population retention rebate that they put on their bills, so that if you're stuck by provincial law having to do something from a tax perspective on a tower that's on a residential property, you can rebate it back. We need your partnership on this because we can't put up towers and then get big tax bills for towers that don't make sense. So we need that kind of thing. The other stuff that we're doing in some counties, Northern Lights, for example, they've got a program where they're paying $750 to anybody that gets internet that's 100 meg or faster and so we get them to sign a thing and they say, here it is. And basically we go and do installs out there for free.
Which municipality is that?
Northern Lights,
This is
or sorry, Northern Sunrise, Northern Sunrise. So St. Isidore and all that area, we're doing those. And the reason for those, they've done that because their belief is that if a location gets really good internet using whatever infrastructure, and it's not directed at us, it's just to their constituents, then their constituents can choose whatever they want, including satellite. But the idea is that if they get good internet, whether they live there, whether they sell, whether it goes to their kids, something, the good internet is always there. And so it stays there. So that's something that you guys can think about. I know it's in the middle of a budget year, so it's probably not going to happen today, but it's something that I would suggest. Encouraging people to get really good internet through some kind of participation will increase your tax base because they come and stay.
Well, I mean, I think we've all come to realize we're in the age where internet is another service like electricity, like gas, like water.
Yeah.
That we've come to expect, and we've seen cases where people have considered moving to our region, but internet was a restriction, right? That they couldn't do because I mean, one thing that COVID taught us that we can do things virtually now, like all sorts of meetings virtually.
Oh, crazy.
Brenda's in California this morning and she's joined our meeting, and
Yeah.
so I mean, you couldn't do that without internet, and I'm not here to I'm not a salesman for your company, but I have family members that have signed up through the trade show you had in Manning.
Is Keith related to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and exactly what you said, the one person, he was with TELUS, poor service, couldn't watch Netflix, it was always buffering, phone TELUS, get somebody on that could barely speak English, or after you went through a whole bunch of menus to get to somebody
Sure.
finally. Oh, we can help you by doing this, so they'd send some more equipment out. No, the result was the same. So finally, when they caught wind of I Want Wireless through the trade show, called your office, got somebody on the phone instantly, spoke the default accent. And we're put the service in, and speeds are incredible, like he's talking 50 up and 20 down or whatever it is, but I mean, it said. He thought it was just a one-off, that well, this is not gonna be like this, but it doesn't matter if it's 9 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night,
Nope.
the service is steady.
And that's what Glenn's saying, like we bought such a big pipe for manning, your community could double. And we would still have more than enough pipe to give everybody 100 meg service, which is really
In
great.
the middle of nowhere, Terry, and I'd like to know how they're gonna get it.
Linda, where are you at again?
Big River,
Okay,
and it's 120 kilometers from here.
okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's
We have internet there through another outfit called Aero Technology,
Okay,
and they're providing that to the people in the north. of it.
okay, let's look at that.
and that was the other thing that, and again, not to be a salesman for you, but your package that these people took was probably was less per month than what TELUS was charging them.
Oh, yeah.
For better service and better
Mhm.
customer service as well, so yeah, I mean, it was, so I don't know, somewhere, there's gotta be a catch somewhere, but yeah.
The catch is we believe in rural Alberta. And
So I
we'll
guess
put our money where our mouth is.
my question would be, and maybe this would be more for administration, is present that plan to us, what you're thinking this partnership would look like, right?
Okay,
Where both these sites would be, like you say, on county property, because we don't own a bunch of property. I mean, we have the truck fill stations you talked about.
Sure.
We have property in North.
And as soon as we have the i's dotted and the t's crossed, then we can absolutely do that for you guys. Have specifics for you, Terry, so that you can say yay or nay.
but our stuff, I mean, we literally take up 32 square feet.
Yeah, well, you got one just down the street here.
Mhm.
Saves that.
Yeah,
And Arrow put one in our yard.
Yeah, this one here is it.
Hardly notice the footprint it takes up, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
goes up, not out, right? So,
Exactly.
so we'll turn it over to council for more questions.
Yeah. Brian lived down in the Peace River Valley, on the east of North
Mhm.
Star. Not being challenged to get internet, so I'm forced to go with Gerhard's friend.
Gerhard, you're really getting.
So,
He did not
and,
snap
and,
it.
and, you know, we're happy with it, but if we had an alternative, I'd pull the plug on Elon, but is there any way you could get service into areas like that?
Where exactly is it?
It's 17 kilometers east of North Star. It's right
Yes.
down in the river
we
valley.
get asked about that area.
Oh, is that where is there a golf course or a campsite or something down there too?
So that's
Overway.
the campsite a little bit further north, same idea as Brent down in the river flats,
Mhm.
call it Clemens Flats.
Oh, okay.
So it's a subdivision down there, right? So-
Popular spot. We get a ton of questions about that area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they're downstream from me,
It's the only way.
4 or 5 kilometers.
Yeah,
So here's how, it's not complicated. Here's us, river over here, and if we're over here like this, we gotta get to here. And it's not that we can't get there, we gotta get to the top of the river and shoot down. So, Watino had no service, no cell service, no nothing, between Flair and Wanham. And we found a farmer that was over there and we lined her up on Google Earth and you could see right down the river valley to there. So we shot over to the farmer, went to there, down into there. They got 100 meg services down and right in the
we've
team.
done in the past. Brent is literally just walk around and knock on people's doors and say, hey, this is who we are, this is what we're about. If there's enough interest, then we can absolutely look at investing in an area. And that's how, so if you, because you're so connected with your community, will depend on you guys to tell us where there's need and what kind of population you think there's a need for. And we'll come and knock on your neighbors' doors and say, hey, if we put a little repeater tower down here, just like Linda's talked about, can we get 30 households and can we make the math drive? And if we can, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, there's no red cross on our forehead here. We're gonna do stuff that just makes sense financially, but are making sense financially, we can do stuff way more cost effectively than TELUS can or anybody else, because we can make a deal with your neighbor and get them service down there.
How many people do we need?
Yeah, so in order to, if we're putting 4 access points, meaning that it has the ability to shoot all ways, we need like 40 people on a tower to make it make sense. Yeah.
Or where we do it a lot of times is we'll send over to one spot and then we'll shoot 5 different directions, but direct point to point stuff.
Mhm.
Because it's more cost effective and you can still give the service to that. We're not against, I mean, we just want to see, we want a partner. So sometimes it doesn't make sense financially to go do this, but because it makes sense financially to do this and somebody's scratching your back over here, well, we can make that work over there, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we need, specifically from you guys' area, we need, what areas are gonna grow? What areas do you think, where should we be? And we'll take that into consideration. Like, generally speaking, I drove through there and kind of think, okay, we should be here and here and here. But I'd love to hear from somebody that backs my theories.
So what do you need at these tower locations? I mean, do you have to bring fiber in there to?
Nope.
No.
Um,
Where do you get your signal from to redistribute?
So for here, we will feed, we're hooked to the Alberta SuperNet right downtown there, shoots up to our tower here, then that'll shoot out to North Star. For that one, the one in Peace River, we've got 2 different options that we're looking at. We have fiber, and again, all of our links now are 10 gig, same as here. So we have 10 gig coming out of St. Isidore that we would shoot across into the whole area there, and then redistribute from there. Those are all what we're using now is microwave links. So they're a licensed link that nobody can interfere with. And that was one of the things, the feds dropped the price. They used to charge like 15 grand a year, and now we get them for about $1,200 a year. So it makes more sense. So now we can feed one of those towers with whatever we need,
So
basically.
you need to have comparable.
As long as there's power at a location, Terry, that's really all that we need. Yeah.
110 power or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, if you wanted to put a tower, say at the Weberville truck fill or the Warrensville truck fill,
Mhm.
all you need is a footprint to put the tower and electricity and.
Yep.
Which was always there.
Yep.
And that's all.
Everything that's already there, and then at the same time, we'd run her in so you guys could monitor what was going on there, and if you wanted to put cameras in
Security.
and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's the other thing we're offering now too, within probably 90 days, we'll have full TV packages that are CRC-CT approved, so people could get rid of their satellite TV, because they don't, and then they can either go with free options, or they can go with a canned TV service, just like they're getting right now. And again, cheaper.
One other thing we noticed in our county, in lots of counties, I drive from my level to Edmonton and
Yep.
lots of dead cell areas.
Yeah.
You guys don't have anything to do with cell networks. I mean, nobody.
We don't, but we have a ton of customers. In Sunset House area is a big dead zone for us too. And so we have a ton of customers that we hook them up with a VoIP phone service so that they can still have their home number that they've had for 35 years. And then we help people swap over to Wi-Fi calling too. So as far as driving from location to location, we don't have a solution for that yet. Although the company that we work with is working on a kind of mesh solution that will help people use Wi-Fi calling as they're moving. But if you're at your home, we do have a solution for that.
I didn't know what Wi-Fi calling was until just recently, so maybe some people don't hear. It's all that happens is, as soon as you walk in and it connects to your Wi-Fi, then it makes all the calls through the Wi-Fi. As soon as you walk away from your Wi-Fi, it goes back to the cell service. So it works great for that kind of stuff. And then we're doing cameras now soon so that people can monitor their stuff. We're doing all the flood detection things, so you can go away to California, Brenda, and know whether your sump pump's working, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So how close do you have the community people have to be? Cause like.
You know what, as long as they're within 30 to 35 kilometers of our physical tower, Linda, we're having amazing success with a direct line of sight. Yeah, to those people. Yeah, it's a big area for sure.
Keg River, I've spent lots of time going up there. It's spread out.
Yeah.
One thing, Kid River is nice and flat there, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Constructions. Well, I mean, carpentry's another Sunday Valley clean class.
We'll look at anything and analyze it. And there's places where it may require some other things, but we will do it. Finally, I forgot to mention, with our internet service, if you got I want wireless internet, you can't get it without getting a router, because half the time somebody says, oh, my internet's terrible, and it's not terrible, it's your router, something's interfering with it inside the house, got nothing to do with the internet. So we supply the routers, then we can help fix it, plus you can use the app to protect your kids. But as a final note on those routers, they have a hidden
It's a mesh network inside of them.
SSID,
Mhm.
which is just the thing that pops up that says Fred's house or whatever. It has one of those that's hidden, and it's only available to emergency services. So if an ambulance pulls on your yard and you got I want wireless, it automatically can hook up to high-speed internet. Police, fire, all of that stuff
Mhm.
at the same time, which as we continue to grow, it's really cool.
Especially if it is an emergency situation, right, and somebody needs a blood transfusion or whatever the case may be. We had a guy put his heel through his auger the other day, anyways. And so he did need a blood transfusion in the ambulance, and they were able to hook up to his Wi-Fi, check his blood type on Alberta Health Services, and get him the thing he needed, right? This
Really?
is a big deal.
Can't do that necessarily with their cell phone.
No, I mean, it's. An old guy like me to see how the technology is, you know.
Oh, and it's changing at such a massive pace.
Maybe a year from now, it's just gonna be something that even
Mhm.
Trump's 5-watt wireless. No, I don't.
Easy with the Trump stuff now, no.
Yeah.
Elmo's up.
We looked at this probably 10 years ago, right, and we've been on council for a long time, and we had people proposing that we build towers so we can distribute internet, and
That doesn't
we
make
were
sense.
reluctant to. We said, you know what, industry is gonna look after that themselves, we don't need the municipal dollars. I mean, now, maybe we do have to help reach out to make this happen faster, but sure enough, I mean, technology is advancing faster than we ever could have dreamed, right? So if we would have invested $500,000 10 years ago, it'd be obsolete technology now, right?
That's right.
All our stuff that we invested $500,000 in, I got a whole basket full of stuff that's garbage. Like, we're taking it down. All the stuff that we put up, even 7 years ago, we're tearing it down and putting this new stuff up. And frankly, we wouldn't have done it without the feds in the province participating. Yep, the final mile is real, and I don't want to give too much credit to the feds on anything, but it's
It
a
does keep
program,
small communities.
keeps small communities alive.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Gary?
You got, is it gonna work the same as all the rest of them, that you reach a saturation point where
That's a great
and
question.
it'll slow down, or?
That is a great question, and not a chance. This, for the first time in 20 years that we've been running this thing, we have the capability to put more in and deliver to the end than we ever had before. Always before, there was a restriction in how much technology we could get out. That's why it was always better to have fiber before, because fiber didn't top out on you. Even though the companies, they were restricting it at the far end, putting a 1-inch garden hose on a 3-inch pipe. Now we have a 3-inch pipe all the way, and the way technology is going right now, people are maxing out at how much they need now, because you can only watch so many 4K channels at the same time, but you can get the baseball game and what were the kids watching?
The chuck wagons.
Chuck wagons. Kids were watching chuck wagons. You can do it all at the same time now.
Yeah.
And our system, we don't believe that what we've got now as infrastructure, we're really confident that we're not gonna top it.
In our customer agreement, Gary, we're happy to put our mouth where our money goes. Like, it does say right in there, if there is X number of time where you're not getting the speeds that we've promised you based on the contract that you've chosen, we physically give you your money back.
And like your relatives there, Terry, if we say we're giving you 50, we're giving you 50.
All the time.
We say we're giving you 300, we're giving you 300, not up to, we're giving you what we said.
No, I mean, he was a skeptic, and so that was a month ago, and he sold on it.
Man, we're glad to hear it. Yeah. We met a ton of people at the expo, and it was really cool to talk to everybody that lives here, because we did get a good feeling of where there was some big gaps. And I've talked to a ton of business owners, and there's some big gaps, for even business owners, I'm sure, that are out in the county. Like, we drove around, and there's a ton of industry here that seems really underserved, even as far as security, right? I don't know if it's the same in Manning, but in DeBolt, theft has just really skyrocketed the last number of years, and I think that's another thing that we can solve for people here, right, is helping them protect their property, and be sure nice if their neighbor got notified, right? If somebody drove in the yard when they're in California, when they're in Arizona. Because the cops aren't coming for us, you guys. It's up to us to help and protect each other, right? So
The security service, we don't notify well, you can notify the police, but
it does,
doesn't help you
but
much. Notify the neighbor now that criminals got a problem.
Well, I mean, so before we let you go, I mean, we are a very large geographical
Huge.
municipality.
yeah,
Sparsely populated, most of our population is in the south where you toured around.
Yep,
And then we have some, you know, surrounding Manning, which you probably can reach, but
Yep.
the rest of us, like Brent and Linda and myself, I mean, we're all waiting for that to come. I mean, I'm a TELUS customer right now, I'm okay with it, so that gets me by, but it's definitely not 50 up and.
yeah. And we got a lot of questions about Hotchkiss too at the expo, Terry, so it is on our list of things to look at, because I bet you 30 people asked me about
Fuel
Hotchkiss.
station there. You can
Yeah,
find a spot to
yeah,
tower ups.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, guys, thank you so much for your time. I'll send you a follow-up email just with anything, and then,
Kara,
yeah,
that's to kind of, you know, show your, what your
Yeah.
plan is, and we can put it in the budget, I guess, and see what we can do.
yep. And then if you guys have any questions, or even as you know your people better than anybody, let us know what you need. We can't help if we don't know what you need.
Start sweep behind.
You know what? If it's okay, I'll just send all our contact information over to Brad, and then, yeah,
and we up front, I offered a free install because we're gonna run a free install next month. We still haven't, did we get that set up?
did Wanda reach out to you, Brad?
No, okay.
Okay,
Can we?
Well, we can go for it, yeah.
We'll set you up, free demo, and then you can report back to these guys about how it works. And if it's not satisfactorily, we'll take it down.
So what they mean by free is they're giving a free install of the equipment,
Yeah.
and you have a 30-day trial if you like it. And if you like it and you continue with the contract, you sign a 3-year deal that you continue to pay for 3 years, and then the equipment install is for free.
I think people are really gun shy, right, because of the bigger corporations of the world saying, oh, we're gonna give you this speed, and then at 3 p.m. when the kids are off school, nothing works, right? So we understand that people are
Suspicious.
fearful, fearful.
So you have a local contractor?
Yeah.
Installs, Andy?
Yeah, and he's wonderful. Andy has such a great reputation, and he's a really integral man. We're very much enjoying working with him. Yeah. Yeah, so it was really lucky that we were able to connect.
Just thinking too, like I just did a speed test here, that's, it was 24 up and 18 down in this office. Do you do?
Can we give the county a install next week and a demo for a month? And all that's gonna happen is, you probably got good Wi-Fi system, like, is it
We are SuperNet here too.
so you're on the SuperNet? Oh, you're getting hosed. You're getting hosed. Every county that we deal with, we give them our service because you guys are buying in a chunk this big from Bell, who rips you off every day of the week, guaranteed. We had to pay like 90,000 bucks to get a connection there, and all they had to do is put a switch in. But we can give you, we're already buying this big package anyway, so we'll bring it right to here. And it's same service. They just gotta run it over from the connection here.
Well,
But we'll put a service in and
Garrett
try
can
it.
talk to his management team and see if that's even, or, you know, it could be interesting, but that's up to council to decide.
For sure.
I would love to see us give you guys, and then you just try it. Like, everything that we do, we'll back it.
Yeah, Gerhard, the other counties, we put in our business level 2, which would give you 400 megabytes in download speed and 100.
I mean, this office is very reliant on internet, right?
Every office, yeah, you got it, Terry. Okay, I will make a note of that, and I'll touch base about that.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks a lot again.
Sorry, we took way longer than we were supposed to. I get telling stories and then,
Thank you, guys.
thank you for having us. Look forward to a partnership.
Okay, well, our other delegation isn't here, so we can move down, we'll knock off a couple of things under 6.1.1 before we stop for a break. So item A is a Peace River School Division ground opening invitation. He's already sending out invitations in September, and some have just started. But I think it's a red letter day for the community to see this new school open, and I think all the council should be welcome to come, but I definitely would be interested in going, so. I think that I don't see any issues there. Anybody else? I would just say any councilors that are available, come, it's at 10 in the morning, so unfortunately it's not on a council day, it's on a Friday, I believe that is.
I would be interested in going.
Okay,
I was gonna say, I would too, it's a big day.
Yeah.
Gloria?
Yes,
Brenda?
Yes, I'll attend that. I think it's important.
Sure, okay, Linda?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, we're gonna authorize all the council to attend. I mean, that's, sometimes I don't know what's happening tomorrow, let alone months from now, but putting the best efforts in, so.
September 26th.
I'll make that.
Okay, Councilor basically moves to acknowledge receipt of the invitation, the grand opening, and we'll have all council attend if available. Any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Yeah, and we'll give them a list. Item B is a Peace Regional RCMP Community Advisor Committee funding request.
I could speak to this one, Terry.
Sure.
I know that it's attached there. As I mentioned in my word report, I'm on the planning committee. This is the big one for them. This is their 20th anniversary. So they're looking at doing municipal open house and all kinds of extra activities to celebrate 20 years of the party program. We got a speaker that actually Alberta Alert, the ICE program, so the child exploitation unit, donated graciously to come and present to me the keynote for 2 days, which like saved the committee like almost $3,000, which was fantastic. So we got a lot of cool things in the work, so that's why the funding request is a little bit more than it historically has been. But I think having been involved in planning and stuff, like they're looking at doing some amazing things that are gonna save kids' lives and make a big impact. So I would really like to see council go ahead and support at the full 550 level. And like I said, they are planning on October 7th in the evening to have a municipal open house, and we're just kind of working on the details and invites. They kind of put me in charge of that, so I'll have more information on that closer to October, but would love to see all of council attend that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Galen. Any discussion on this?
Motion to delete 500.
Obviously from the council grants, right? Says in the motion. Any further discussion? So I mean, this is something we supported before, just at a higher level this year, so.
Yeah, and I think just given the fact that it's a special anniversary and we're just doing a little bit more than normal, but I appreciate council's support.
Okay, seeing no more questions, discussion, we'll call for the vote, all in favor? It's carried. Item C is RMA zone meeting that we are hosting this year. So. Any want to speak to this, Gerhard, or?
Yeah, so we're hosting the zone meeting on August 8th. And this is just a motion for who from council would love to attend. I would recommend it, but.
No, I may not, because it's the Friday.
So, and. Yeah, we definitely make a motion for that, but just part of the discussion too is we've attended these zone meetings for twice a year for years, and we see very kind of welcome gifts from, the host. So sometimes you get a reusable bag with a coffee cup in it, or a flashlight, or a package of mints, or whatever. I mean, we have anything that we can budget for to have something. Pardon me?
I think about, we haven't been getting them lately. I'm sure value your
So is that-
we didn't get anything.
So-
The one before I.
Do we have to?
Do they have door touch when we were in Valley View? And our door prizes will be wearing Woodstock.
Yeah, well, that's not there.
Up in the creek.
I didn't know.
The creek had several door prizes, so either door prizes or the welcome bags, or both, whatever council decides, I guess, but I just think that's a nice gesture.
I like this basket idea better than.
Me too.
The door prizes or welcome bags.
Yeah.
So what could we, I mean, I don't know if we have locally source stuff we can give as a couple of door prizes and maybe some swag you might have in the closet for a door prize.
We should have some stuff left from the trade show, but.
So let's
think
do that.
we should give out those for the.
I mean, we'll set a budget for
For
it
the set of budget.
and then trim or whoever can put something together. And not just one, I mean, everybody likes to win something that's useless, right, but I mean,
Some of them are useless.
well, I'm saying that in tongue in cheek, but I mean, you can only use so many notepads and pens and.
Yeah, well, we did one time, we gave out the local honey and that was very popular with people. It's not just some junk made in China, it's local product.
You know, we
That
got
was-
quite a few people. You know.
Yeah, like, that was appreciated.
I was thinking like Jack Neck Creeks, like the beef jerky, like, oh,
Yeah, so I mean, there's.
I-
honey-
I love that idea.
I
So
could,
let- Go ahead, Brenda.
I was just gonna say, I think, like it was saying about 100 people to accommodate, I'm guessing. Anyways, I read that somewhere, but I was thinking maybe like $20 per person, so that's like $2,000. And because you don't get much for $20 anymore. And then we could go a little higher if we want to add door prizes to that,
So we're. I mean,
like
is-
2,500.
Do we wanna do both? Do we wanna get welcome gifts? or
Like,
just-
I don't know what council wants to do, one or the other, or both,
I think we're thinking maybe just
one or
So-
the other.
door prize, you know, everybody gets a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe some pens and.
yeah, we could have pens and maybe some notepads laying on the tables.
That we already have, yeah.
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
Mhm.
So August 8th, probably a good time for farmer's market. We could get our little brown paper bags with the little handle. We could get some mini jam and honey or something that's local. Just, you know, those small serving kind of sizes. And then each person could have something to take home.
Yeah.
We do have our county stickers that we can put on there to give it a local theme.
Mhm.
And of course, we can always throw in a pen, but you know, that way each person has something to take home and it's locally sourced.
And then, that's a good place.
yeah, that's.
And then you can have maybe one nice basket at the
for
door.
a grand
Yeah,
prize,
okay.
Yeah, for that to be.
So what kind of budget do we have to set for that, or do we need to do that today? I guess we do, because we don't meet again now till after this. So,
Probably 2,500 to 3,000.
I say, give it up to 5 and then that's about it. You don't know how much it's going to cost.
yeah, I mean,
But
don't have to.
Higher, no, how much higher, you know, at least 5,000, because it's costly.
So Brenda, we kind of did a flip here, now we're thinking maybe some more individual gifts for each attendee. with,
And then one.
In a bag with our name on it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Teresa always does a good job with that.
So I guess attendance is what your main point was. Anybody not going to attend, this would be the simplest way.
I might not, but I might be able to, so I don't want to say no.
That's a firm maybe.
Maybe, maybe, yeah. Can I say maybe? It's not gonna cost, right, if I don't,
Doing it for the
yeah,
meal.
okay.
I'm gonna keep your honey. No, I'm just kidding.
So just, so it all becomes.
So what are we, Teresa's stuck on a number there now, what are we thinking, 2,500, 3,000?
I'd say,
Right?
I'd say 3,000, at least, right, I think. it's-
Yeah. Yeah, well, that would cover it.
What'd she say?
Oh, I just said that would cover it. 3,000.
Before we're making us, I'll make that motion.
Okay, And just put all the council. Okay, Brenda, we have a motion by Councillor Decken to acknowledge receipt of the RMA District 4 register all of council to attend in meeting in Peace River and purchase individual welcome gifts and at least one large door prize basket. We're not gonna give out a door. With a budget of $3,000. All in favor? Let's go.
I'm in
Yeah.
favor.
Okay. Let's do this next one. Item D, Freedom of Information Protection and Privacy Act Replacement Report. Who's gonna speak to that?
I am now not your VoIP coordinator, I am now your ATI coordinator, according to the province. So new legislation has just gone through. Your VoIP has been replaced with the Access to Information Act and your privacy OPA. So if you've gone on the website, you'll notice that that page is under construction. We are taking training and new forms, a little bit tighter process. So there'll be a learning curve and some transition time, and since it is the summer and we're on holidays, it might be a little bit longer before we get everything switched over. So just so that you know that, it's now ATIA, and this is for your information.
So we will become,
It is now, no, it's transitioned now to the two other pieces of legislation, 2 acts.
so any idea what was the motivation for them to?
Digital, so all of our information is mostly digital. I think after listening to some of it, and especially before they were changing, you all know that with the election, the province is giving us their information from their database for our mandatory registration now. You have to be on the voter list to be able to vote. Municipalities have never done that before, and of course they're sharing that information digitally. And like the people just sit in our delegation, that's the way the world is turning, right? So they had to update and really move in that technological era, and so they had quite a few provisions that needed to be made for that.
Okay, no, any questions?
More acronyms, we love it.
2 replacing 1.
Oh,
So,
have sticky notes all over our screen to remind us what the changes are.
so there's no questions for somebody to make a motion to accept the report. The commission. Councillor Novinsky, all in favor? Carried. Let's take a 10-minute break to. We have to do. And we'll move to 6.1.1, item E is an addition, the parallel economic development report. So I think I was gonna attend this meeting and I chose another meeting instead last night, but Kaylin did, and I think she's got a verbal report and how that meeting went.
So it was really good. I sat through the whole meeting and then got to speak at the end, so it was really good to see like kind of what they're doing, what they're working on, how things are going. So I, pitched the idea back to them, like we kind of talked about maybe just the southern boards, like kind of Ward 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. Joining just because it makes the most amount of sense to kind of start, because that's already kind of within the area. So they were really receptive to that. That's kind of what they were thinking too. They were on board with, a 1-2 year trial, depending on how we felt about that. It will be per capita numbers, so they do need our numbers for population for Ward 1, 2, and 3. So that would be the first step. But we did just kind of ballpark it at a guesstimate of about 2,500 people in those 3 wards. I don't know how accurate that is, but at 2,500 people, we'd be looking at $55,000 a year for a membership. And I after sitting through the meeting and, you know, getting to be involved, I think that there is a huge value in us at least trying it out for a year. Their focus right now is really trying to get all of our building development permits and everything aligned and working on that, and we're really seem to be trending in the regional direction, so I think it only makes sense. They're actually working on, it was, some housing stuff right now, which is exciting, given my, you know, board commitment with Northleaf Housing and stuff, so that was really cool. But they're working on like a career fair thing right now, and they're really trying to promote the trades and keep kids in our community. And they're working with industry and doing that kind of stuff, and I think that retention side of it was really interesting to me, like we know living in the rural, we need to home grow our kids, and they're just doing some really awesome work in that field, so. They were willing to entertain us for a year, 2-year trial, whatever council sees fit. And then obviously stagger our fee for this year because it's already September. And go from there. So they'd be looking for, those numbers, if we can email those population numbers back to Misty. She needs those to get a concrete number, so if we want to get that number and then make a decision, that's great, but then they would be looking for a council member to sit at the table, as well as a member at large would be great.
Okay. So. I think it makes sense for the southern wards, but.
Yeah.
That wouldn't exclude the northern wards, I mean, they're not gonna come up and do promotions in North Star or Manning or Kid River probably, but, they're not gonna draw a hard line. I'm thinking that we could still be part of the economic development. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what is the rate per capita?
So it worked, when we kind of did the rough numbers, it was about $21 per capita roughly.
Yeah.
So we were trying to guesstimate, like, given our population, how much of it was concentrated down there, so I feel like maybe we shot a little bit high at 2,500, but, so I think on that end of it, we'd be at 2,500 people, we'd be looking at 55,400 for our contribution, so.
So. I don't know if we have administration, try to get those numbers for next meeting and bring it back, and then, you know, I mean.
Yeah, so kind of what I was thinking, so they're meeting again in September, and at that point, they would like a firm.
Yes, sir.
Answer from us. So kind of what I was thinking, Terry, is we'd make a motion today just to get administration to get those numbers to Misty. That way they can give us a hard number of what our membership would be, and then we can bring it back to our August meeting and make a decision at that point. I think would be the best.
Jeff, a question?
Yep.
So if we going to support the Cardinal Economic Development Commission, are we looking at maybe taking away the growing north, or are we going to continue with those?
So, I know. Like Grimshaw, Berlin, and MD of Peace are members now. MD of Peace, I know, is a member of PREDA as well, which we are, so they kind of have a bit of an overlap. Growing the north, I think, is something totally unrelated, and growing the north is, we just do that year by year, decide if we want to sponsor, decide if we want to attend, so I don't think there's any conflict with that.
So they do, just for the record, so they have their memberships on here, so, like Misty, who would be essentially our economic development officer at that point, they're part of the Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Developers of Canada and Alberta, and they do attend all of those Growing the North events, economic developer conferences, like all those kind of things, so she would attend on our behalf and bring back as well.
And she also is at PREDA every
Yes, he
meeting.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like her report of like the things that she's done is like in a month is crazy, and it's spread out, like, I mean, this is just, you know, and all over the place, right? Like in every municipality. So my question was kind of like, if you take on 3 more wards, like what's your workload look like? Like what's the distribution look like? And she was like, it's good. And then they were like, well, if we have the county Northern Lights money, then maybe we can look at getting an admin and push it even farther, but they're just doing so many things, and my feeling is I don't want to be on the outside looking in, like we I know it's a budgetary item, but I feel like we have to do something.
And we're always talking about economic development, that's why we have the one with 5 regional ones, that's, you know, it's getting like, why can't they all get together and do it as a group?
And that's their thing, like, I mean, I know Peace River's not at the table for them and I
They
don't,
used to be, but
I don't, I mean, they were honest and I don't think that they'll come back to the table, but I feel like we all work together, we'll get better results for the area. And like I said, like this career fair, like they're investing in our kids. I mean, we have doctor retention committees, but like things specifically for our kids and things like that, they're just, it's such a mixed bag of things that she's really dedicated to, really focused on, and I think we would be silly to not take the opportunity. So I would really like to see those numbers come back and go from there.
yeah, so I mean, I just a comment too, that we had an economic development officer for quite a few years, and then she moved on, took another position, we never filled it again. So I mean, we used to budget, I'm guessing probably north of $100,000 for that, her salary, her vehicle, her benefits, and then everything else that went with that department. So I mean, Josh has kind of taken it on as a side job, and Trinity kind of was community services, but whether it's 55,000 or whatever that number comes in at, still no saving what we used to pay to have an economic development officer. And I mean,
There's lots here that we could be doing from King River. I'm sorry, guys, I get feeling left out every time we bring anything up, it's always about the south. There's people that live in the north too, like even Terry's area, you know, we've got to start pushing economic development for all of us, not just the south. Okay, that's how I'm feeling.
no, and that's a fair point, and I mean, this would be a starting point, right? And I mean, we'll see how it goes and the benefits of it, and if they're willing to take the one-year contract, and we can evaluate it after that.
And that was my point too, and I explained to Missy, like, it's tough when we're that geographically spread out. And, you know, and so she wasn't opposed to growth, to pushing the boundaries, to anything like that. It was just, we need to start somewhere and see if we can get some value from it, and if it doesn't work, then okay, we pivot and do something different.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about MGP Scrimmage from Berlin, I mean, you could drive just about 15 minutes and be everywhere, right? We're here, you're 2 hours from end to end, so go ahead, Gary.
But if we don't do something like this, well, my thought is if we step into something like this, it would probably, you know, like they wouldn't cut it off at, you know, Dixonville or whatever. You know, if something was coming along, it would be sort of funneled in and they could handle it and it would go together with, you know, where they're at, you know.
I
Like,
would hope so.
yeah,
That's how I'm looking.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would think.
So I mean, I know there's a kind of an oil play up in King River there, right? That
Lots going
maybe
on.
all of a sudden, you know, that's out of their wards 1, 2, and 3, but we might say, hey, you know, we need some help here to try to vote this,
And they're just a really motivated group of people, and there's, the members at large are from various backgrounds, like the one does farm credit loans and insurance, the other one is in gravel sales, like it's a whole mixed bag of things, and I think that it would just, I'd really like to see us explore it and see.
Well, I agree on that, part, but I just am not, we want to be included.
If I may,
And I don't think there would be a hard line, Linda, like I think.
Brenda?
That way.
oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's a great idea to check into, and then like, because even at 55,000, which I don't think our population's quite that high, but in the south, but that's still way less than what we would pay an economic development officer if we had one on staff. So I think it'd be worth giving it a try.
okay, thanks for that, Gary.
So if we look at the total population, even for the county, 3,601, it works out to $75,500. So
Yeah,
that's,
and that's what we were looking at too, and I was like, okay, let's just like shoot it high and we'll just, then we know, top end.
On the other hand, we have words of art, financial guy ringing in my ears.
Yeah.
We've had, when we had economic development, the measurement tools we had were, what is success, right? And we didn't really have any way of measuring that, and that's why we decided not to renew that position, right? And so just want to keep those things in mind moving forward.
Mhm. And that was one of my questions too, was like, like how often are you meeting? How are we keeping tabs on this? Like, what are we doing here? And they do meet monthly and they, like, their meetings were very goal focused, and I think there's definitely KPIs that can be measured there for sure.
Yeah, and
I mean, and it was one meeting I sat in, so it was tough too, but it was good.
no disrespect to our previous ED, but I think strength in numbers, when you have 4 municipalities kind of working together, you can probably be more effective.
Mhm.
But, you had a comment on it? No, okay.
Mhm.
All right, well, thanks, Kaylin, for attending and bringing that back, and I think, a good idea would be to have administration try collect that information as far as population, and then we know what we have to budget for, and he said that they would prorate us for that, they work on a calendar year then, right, so.
Yeah, or if we wanted to start in January, it was kind of up to what our feelings were. But they got some big things coming for the fall, so I think if we're gonna get on board, we should get involved, like that career fair is coming this fall. So it would be
Yeah.
nice to be able to include our kids.
They do their, what do we call that, street festival, they're gonna show every fall harvest, something.
Soon, yeah.
Well, maybe we could have some presents there then, right, if we remember.
No, we do donate, right? So the South Rec Board sponsors the kids zone, we always have a big logo there, which is nice. And I think that the South Rec Board did donate again this year, so.
Okay, well, if somebody wants to make a motion that we have administration do that work for us and bring it back.
I can,
Okay, Council Fees. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we can move down to 6.1.2. Item A is a CEO report.
Okay, so, in a few meetings, just an update on the fire service agreement, so we busy negotiating 2 of them, the Manning one, as well as the Peace River one. On the Manning one, I'm busy with April, we sending some information up and down. The Peace River one, we received the first draft of the non-monetary items. I'm reading through that. I haven't picked up any major disputes. The only dispute that we probably have is that they don't want to include their council in that committee. And I feel there is a need for council to sit in that meetings. So
But
that'll be-
no councils at all.
Yeah, I don't want any of their councils in there. Well, they don't mind. We have our councils, but they're not gonna have any of their councils.
Who's gonna represent them, not just administration?
Just administration. And I feel like, we part of the community, but I don't think we're nearly as involved with the community as you guys are. So I feel there's a value of council, or at least a representation from council to sit in these meetings, so. I'm definitely gonna push from our side to have you guys represented there, so.
Well, so by comparison to that one, there will be council there, be yourself and Gloria and I, and then there are 2 councillors and there's CEO, right?
So for Manning, that is absolutely correct, but for Peace River, they want just the 2 CAOs and the fire chief and the new director that they appointed, and I think that I think my council represented there.
Totally different than,
Yeah.
so I mean, that'd be you and Brent and who else is on the?
I was,
Area?
that was. That meeting, that was, one of the councilors brought it up that he didn't want to be there. And so, I'm not sure if that wasn't, the mayor, but it was one of the councilors, so I'm not sure where it's all coming from, but.
And then Manning, we're excluding the fire chief, right? We're,
Just this one portion, not all.
no, but this
Not
initial meeting,
not just for the negotiation.
yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, the regular meetings, of course, we have fire
But
chief.
they don't really want the council there on the regular.
Oh, okay, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, that was the fire services agreements, then we had a fleet meeting, so. We're currently turning out our equipment every second year. We looked at the numbers there and.
I can dive into that a little bit if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we first started leasing, we were doing 1-year terms. 20,000 or 40,000 kilometers. Or yeah, it was 20,000, 1 year, 20,000 kilometer. Then we were turning these vehicles over and selling them for more than what it cost us. So we were making a bunch of money during COVID times. And then when that started to slow down a bit, we switched to 2-year, 40,000 kilometer. And we were still making a bit of money on it. That is slowed down drastically. So now what we are doing is we did a shift to 5-year, 100,000 kilometer. We're not gonna be making bad cash or nothing, but yeah, we're making it a little more worth our while and a little easier for us and the crews not having to switch out vehicles every year or 2 years, right? So keeps the fleet looking nice, keeps appearances up.
But there will also be redeployment of vehicles, so if one person is only using a vehicle for like 5,000 or 8,000 kilometers a year, we'll probably switch it out for someone that actually do 20 or 25,000, just to make sure that we stay within the.
So everything
1,000 kilometers.
wears evenly.
Yeah. So that's the fleet update. So we had a step debrief, I think we this week about the previous council as well. I feel our bridges are still in very good condition. We did there. We had some of the Peach Regional Nuclear Project Town Hall meetings. We had 110 attendees in the Warrensville one, and just over 50, I think it was 53 or something like that in Manning. We didn't get to the question part in Warrensville, and there were some really good questions asked in the Manning meeting. RMA executive visit will be at the August 26th meeting. Just a little confirmation. That will be in person. Then we'll also at the same meeting, we'll have our ordinance standing committee meeting. So if there's any specific policies or bylaws that you guys want us to bring back to discuss, please nominate them or send them to us. I know there's one and I can't remember which one that we already said.
Culture and rec one. Yeah.
That's the one that we already said we're gonna discuss there as
Perfect. Yeah.
the record. So,
Yeah.
So the RMA, sorry, visit, I see no time confirmed yet, but I should try to reach out to Karen and just see if they can give us a time. I mean, it's a ways away, but if we want to feed them lunch or not, if there's limited places to eat, it's kind of a nice gestures to do lunch in. And anything, if we have time to show them any highlights, which there never usually isn't enough time, because usually try to go back to MD a piece or up to Mackenzie or something at the same time, so they may be rushed. I don't know, but maybe try to get some details from her as soon as she knows them.
Cool. So please don't forget to send me any note or nominations for the meeting, policies or bylaws. And then just a reminder that the property tax penalty is kicked in on the 1st of July. So if you guys have given any questions on that, please keep that in mind. That is my report.
Thanks, Gary. Questions? No. Brenda, did you hear the report?
Yes, I did.
Did you want to accept it for
No
information?
question. Sure, I'll move.
Okay. I knew you would. All in favor? Carried. Item B is the plebiscite report. This we talked about before. That was a handout this morning.
I'm sorry for the late submission of the RFP, but I waited for our lawyer to return just from the legal point of view on it. She returned some comments yesterday and she sent a follow-up comment at 10:15 last night, but she doesn't double bill us for that one. But if we can go through the RFP, so the objective, sorry, is the council directed us to investigate a plebiscite, non-binding vote. That is for the Peace Regional Nuclear Project. Maybe some background. Energy Alberta has advanced the proposal to develop a nuclear power generation facility in the region. Then two potential hosts, one is us, the other one would be Northern Sunrise County. The proposal has generated both interest and concerns from the residents. In response, council made two motions. One is to have administration investigate the requirements to hold a plebiscite regarding the nuclear proposal. And then also one from Councillor Reeve that council agreed in principle to hold a plebiscite on the purpose of proposed, nuclear power project. Just hold on a second. Can you see that, Brenda?
Yes, I can. Okay, thanks. Good.
So just the jurisdictional overview. In Alberta, municipalities have limited direct responsibilities when it comes to nuclear reactor and safety and regulation, as these areas are primarily under the federal jurisdiction. However, municipalities still play important roles, support and facilitative roles, especially regarding emergency preparedness, land use planning, and public engagement. Here's a breakdown of municipal responsibilities and where their roles are intersects with nuclear issues. On the federal level, we have to do that's been up at our open houses or townhouse, the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, as well as the Impact Assessment Agency of Canada. At a provincial level, Alberta Utilities Commission and Alberta Environment and Protected Areas involved in energy and environmental policy. But Alberta currently has a moratorium on nuclear power as of 2024, subject to review, which they're definitely looking at with the Premier issuing a letter of support, and they're also busy drafting a nuclear framework.
Can I just interject something there? That yesterday there was a press release from the Premier to start consultation on this matter, so I think that's going to happen. She indicated on her press release September, October, so this fall, she said, so just wanted to point it out that they've actually reacted to their mandate letter.
Municipal responsibilities, so it would be typically on the land use planning and zoning. That would be preparing for the future, if it is approved, if there's future growth in the area, subdivisions, those type of things. Emergency management and preparedness, working with under the Emergency Management Act, that is working with the province on having a emergency plan in place. Infrastructure and services support. May provide and coordinate services like fire protection, transportation access, and road maintenance, water and wastewater services. Public engagement and communication. Act as a liaison between residents and higher levels of government. Responsible for informing and consulting the public, particularly if there's a plebiscite or concern around nuclear development. Intergovernmental cooperation, work with federal regulators, CNSC, provincial ministries and indigenous governments to ensure community interest and safety concerns are addressed. That is just facilitating. It's not like our mandate to actually do that, and it typically be the IAC process. And may sign agreements or memoranda of understanding for coordinated oversight of funding. That would be typically receiving funding from the province or the feds for consultation processes and stuff like that. Typically, like we got the grant, the $70,000 grant for the communication part for PrEP. East River commitment. Support for site selection a nuclear facility is proposed, municipalities may support the site location process for providing data, land use information, and landfill assessments. That would be just because we have access to all information they will ask us for. What we do not do, we do not issue licenses for nuclear reactors. We do not regulate nuclear waste management. We do not approve environmental assessments for nuclear projects. We also do not monitor reactor operation and decommissioning safety, and we also don't fund any of the operating or building that would be between private industry and the government. Vote of the electors, legislative framework. Given that the next municipal election is approaching, council has a unique opportunity to engage voters directly through a ballot question or questions. This is enabled by the Municipal Government Act. Some legislation or part of that, section 231(6), the council may provide for the submission of a question to be voted on by the electors on any matter over which the municipality has jurisdiction. And I want to read that sentence again. A council may provide for the submission of a question to be voted on by the electors on any matter over which the municipality has jurisdiction. The last communication I received at 10:15 last night from our lawyers is that this is not within our jurisdiction, and we might be misleading the public by thinking that it is if we put a plebiscite on this question now. Just the concern that she raised there. Section 236(2), a vote of the electors does not bind council, but rather serves as an advisory expression of public opinion, or as we normally put it, just testing the water. So the Local Authorities Election Act, Section 7, where a question is to be submitted to the electors, it must be done in accordance with the procedures and timelines set in that Local Authorities Election Act. And the importance of ballot clarity. If council wishes to proceed, the framing of the ballot question is critical. The question must be clear and concise, unbiased and neutral, and easily understood by the general public. I have done some proposals on some of the plebiscite questions, and I would actually recommend that maybe if we have a plebiscite, maybe you use it to gauge a little bit more information, because we already used the opportunity. And I have listed 6 possible questions that we could have on that plebiscite. So,
and I know I had a question that I think the lawyers might have helped answer for you. You put in your 6 questions, yes or no. Is there also one more of a neutral and undecided, or require more information, or?
Yes, we would
That would be acceptable.
Yeah.
Yes, Caitlin?
So, I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to the plebiscite, I'm not opposed to the process. I just feel like, given that we just got this, like, 7 pages of questions that I haven't got to read through or look at yet, I would really like to see council entertain tabling this till the next meeting so we can actually go through and read the questions. I haven't had the opportunity to go through and look at this. I'd like to ensure that we're putting out good, clear questions, and I cannot sit here in good conscience right now and make a good decision on all these options that are in the 7 pages that I have not looked at yet.
So, and I just want to add to that, maybe we're running ahead of ourselves by doing that anyway.
And that was going to be,
Since our provincial government has finally stepped forward and said that they're gonna do consultations with all Albertans, right? And I don't know, I think that's their role, they should be taking the first step, so I think tabling it wouldn't be a bad idea till they come up with the process that they're gonna do.
and just further to that, like, I was going to make that comment as well, but I think further to that, we went in and made an agreement with 5 other municipalities, and I would like to see us consult them on that as well, because I feel like we're accountable to our ratepayers 100%. But we also agreed to join with 5 other municipalities that we should be letting them know that this is coming out, because the feedback that I'm getting from other people is not great either, and I just feel like we need to take a breath. There's tons of time to still get this onto the August meeting and out to the thing, but like, I don't know how I sit here today and make a decision on a question that I'm literally reading right now.
this is, this is not anything, surprising here. We've agreed in principle to a vote on this. This is exactly what it's here. Now, there's a lot of mistrust out there in the community about this project. Okay, the council's already decided that they're not giving them. This gives the public a voice. Okay, this insulates the council from any of that negativity. Okay, we're giving them a voice. This is the municipality in which this development is occurring. Now the federal government has recognized that people in the community have a right to voice their opinion. Okay, now the federal government's not gonna come in here and do it, and we shouldn't be waiting for other levels of government. But this is our responsibility to give the people a opportunity to voice their opinion on this. Okay, and if we let this fester all summer, it's not gonna go over well. Now, we've had plenty of time to ponder this. I think we should go ahead with this vote, and that there's no harm in this. It says it's not binding. This is merely a collection of people's opinion. Okay, and this is a step towards transparency for us and democracy, and there's no reason to delay this. We've had a request, we've agreed in principle, and here it is. Thank you, Gerhard, you've done a good job on this, and we should proceed to the vote.
I just feel that. Do we just throw random questions out there? Like, we should have good questions. That's my
These are good
thing.
questions in here. They're very plain, concise. I mean, if you wanna take some time here today to go through it, I would have no problem with that, but delaying this would not send a good message to the public, I'll tell you that.
I haven't even seen the document here, so I'm wondering if, okay, we can agree to have a question on the, a plebiscite question, but we can decide what the question is later, like in August?
Yeah.
Does that?
I don't feel it's council's, I don't feel that I've done my due diligence to my ratepayers when I haven't read through all this information that just got thrown at me. I don't feel right about it.
Well, how much time do you need to read this?
I thought that's what we were doing.
Half an hour?
It's been reading.
So, I mean, if we table this until our August meeting, which is end of August, that still gives plenty of, pardon me,
The election's coming.
yeah, in October.
Well, right now, people want to know what we're doing on this, okay? People want to know, do we go out and go door to door and do a petition to get this, okay? If we wait till August, that time is gone, and then council, oh no, maybe we won't do this, then the time is gone. People have no opportunity to go out and do it then.
But we have two council motions here saying that we're gonna do it. I just wanna make sure it's a good question, and I don't feel comfortable voting for things that I haven't read. Like, I don't wanna mislead my.
Well, again,
residents.
how long do you need to read this? Few pages here, we've already gone through most of it. You need a half an hour to read it.
I think
would
the
like-
question's very
To do some
important.
I would like to do some consultation. I've been trying to collect and attend all the events in the area that I can. I've been trying to make myself knowledgeable on things. I'm sorry I wasn't here 15 years ago when this started. This is new to me, and I'm just trying to be fair to my residents, and I would like to know that I'm giving good things. I've been totally in favor of a plebiscite. We have two council motions. I'm not saying we're not doing it, but I would just like the opportunity to read and consult and figure out what is the question they would like to be asked. What is their issue with it that they want to be asked? Like, I feel like we're force feeding them six questions. Here's 6 questions that we
Very
wanted to do.
simple. It's very, very simple. Are you in favor of, are you not in favor of?
Or are
you
That's not what these
undecided?
questions say.
Well, there's some background issues around, but that's basically the question here.
But you
Okay,
also
I-
have to have, are you undecided? Because I've talked to many people that are very undecided. And how many people are attending all these open houses we have? Very few people. And so what is that telling me? People don't care? People are for it?
Well, there's no problem putting an undecided,
Okay,
question on here. I have no objection to that.
well,
I just don't, I don't send a good message if we just sit on this all summer now. Our next meeting's not till basically end of August.
yeah.
I'm with Caitlin too. I have not read this and.
I don't want to argue back and forth, so I'm willing to put a motion on the floor that we table this to our August meeting and. leave it at
Can we
that.
have
I-
a special meeting?
Pardon me,
Can we have a special meeting to do with this?
why not our August meeting?
That's another 2 months just about, Marty.
I don't understand why you need all summer to read a few pages of this. Like, I don't get it.
Your comment?
I just want to reiterate the lawyer's comment that we setting an expectation at the ratepayers that this could start the process or could proceed or make the process proceed, and then is not the case.
This is merely a collection of opinions of our residents. Now, we've not sat down for a single meeting with our residents. There's been many, many meetings of industry, government, and we've not, the meetings we've had, council never had a chance to ask to engage with the public. It was all filtered through these experts.
And this is my frustration right now, Brent, is right, like, I was frustrated being that the meeting was held in my ward and none of my people got to ask questions, nobody got to talk, they were talked at, which is the one thing that I said in this council chamber that I didn't want from those presentations. And so now I would like the opportunity to have some time to go and engage my residents and find out what questions they want to see on this plebiscite. Because I feel like this is forcing it. I feel like this is council saying, here, take these 6 questions. These are the only ones we're gonna let you answer. What if they wanna ask questions that aren't in here? I don't have the time to sit there and
Well, then we could have had a meeting, gave public, we chose not to, we chose to go a different route, okay? We had the opportunity.
but that's not fair, Brett, because when we sat here and planned it, I said I didn't want them to be talked at. You can go back on the record and find me saying it on the record. And unfortunately, we learned the hard lesson that didn't go that way. So I don't want to sit here and have arguments in council. My motion is on the floor and let's go with that.
Can we agree on a plebiscite and choose a question later?
Brenda, could you repeat that?
Can we agree on holding a plebiscite and agree on a question later?
Well, that's what the discussion
It
is.
sounds like that's what,
Yeah, so, I mean, we've already agreed at our last meeting that agree in principle to hold a plebiscite on the proposal.
Okay.
So that's agreed on.
okay.
I don't know what the rush would be today to do it, when we could do it in the August meeting and still give us 2 months to have it on the October ballot. And especially when the province is.
Yeah, like, cause I think that's what the public wants, right? Or, they want to be able to comment, so I don't see anything wrong with that. Are you against that, Brent?
What was that?
I didn't, can you repeat that?
Oh, I just said, are you against that idea, Brent, of waiting on the question until we have more time? Like, because I haven't even read this document. I didn't get it, so I only see what's on the screen right now.
I would not like to wait till August for this, because again, the people out there would like to see this in place, because if council decides in August, oh, no, we're gonna let the other levels of government do it, then the people that.
Oh, we've already agreed to.
They have no opportunity to go out and petition to have this on the ballot then, okay? They're totally at the whim of what council may decide.
I see you need to have the question on your petition. Is that it?
Well, the idea was that if council did not support having this plebiscite, then the public could go out and conduct a petition and get 10% of the population, and then that would trigger a plebiscite. So council sits on it all summer. By the time August rolls around, that opportunity is gone for people to petition for this. That's the problem,
But-
okay? This will breed mistrust.
Motion doesn't say that, right?
But I'm not saying we're against a plebiscite. I don't want people to have to petition. I just want to be able to go and engage with my people and find out what questions they want asked to put on this plebiscite. I want to do the plebiscite.
Well, you've had a month to do it.
All right, I'm not arguing anymore. My motion's on the table. That's all I have to say.
Final comments? Okay, call for vote, all in favor?
What's the motion, please?
Well, sorry, Brenda. Moved by Councillor Shug to acknowledge receipt of the plebiscite report and table the discussion to the next council meeting, which would be August, whatever it is.
would
Okay.
council be open to having a special meeting before the end of the month? So this is not hanging on us all summer.
Well, we agreed to have a plebiscite, so what's the problem?
That's what I wanna make sure.
My motion says that we are going to have a plebiscite, we just need to discuss the questions and figure out and have time.
Can we move up the next meeting for this, instead of putting it to the end of the summer?
I don't know what that's gonna mean. Like, we've agreed, that we're gonna hold a plebiscite, right?
Okay, and we're just worrying about the questions.
So what do you object to on the questions that are here, that we have?
Well,
I
I'd
guess
like to see them.
I'm struggling with the idea that we need all summer to read this. It doesn't make any sense. Can we take a half an hour break to read it, and if you're not comfortable, let us know what you'd like instead.
Let's vote on this motion that's before us first. If there's no more discussion, I mean, the motion is very clear. So I think we already did vote, did we? It was, all in favor, it was, oh, sorry, so I read it to you, Brenda, did you catch it, or can you share the screen with her?
Oh, yeah, if you could read it one more time, sorry.
We'll just share the screen.
Okay. Just so I'm clear.
Can you see that, Brenda?
Yes, okay, so it says, so Kaylin, I thought you meant we agreed to have the plebiscite and this was just about the question, so discussion of the question, maybe?
Because we already have a council motion standing, Brenda, that we are going to have a plebiscite, so I didn't feel the need to include it. If you'd like to make it more clear, I'm happy to make it more clear. And table the discussion on questions to the next council meeting.
Yeah, that's definitely more clear. I'm in favor.
Okay, so that's, and Brett was opposed, so that's carried 6-1.
I was,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What was that, Linda?
She voted against the motion.
Oh, okay, so sorry, I didn't catch that. So it's carried 5-2 then.
We have a quick recess, Terry.
Yep,
Thanks.
rolls here, so we'll move to that part of the agenda when we get back. We'll take a 10-minute recess. Municipal planning meeting to order at 11:06. Girl.
Thank you.
So everybody's got their agendas. Most of the
yeah.
Is it a separate email? Recently, it's for the original one. Brenda, you find the agenda?
Yeah.
Right. 2.0 adoption of the agenda. The motion to do that, Councillor Nawalewski, all in favor, carried. Minutes from our last NPC meeting, last June 24th. Any comments arising? See none, get a motion to accept the minutes, Councillor Thies, all in favor, carried. Development permit, which. Give a motion to acknowledge Cedar Development Permit DP 2513. Councillor Beckman makes that motion, all in favor, carried. I think that's it for
For NPC?
so we can adjourn that meeting. 11:08. Then we can move down to second page of your agendas. On 6.6.1. We need to do our May first, I guess, administration planning and development update. So we got an update for us, Pearl, who's gonna give a?
Yes, as Josh and I have previously done, we're gonna give you a monthly summary of what's happened with planning and development. So we received a total of 18 inquiries regarding development permits in the month of June. 16 of those went to myself or Josh, 2 of them went to ISL. From those 18 inquiries, we had 7 applications and then 6 permits that were approved with notice of decision issued. In subdivisions, we had a total of 5 inquiries, 3 of them going to myself, 2 of them to ISL, only 1 application, but 8 notice of decisions issued for previous subdivisions in months of applications. And 1 subdivision endorsed where they met all of the criteria on the notice of decision and it's been sent to land titles. While the majority of the inquiries are being received by myself, ISL is still helping us review them and make sure that they're fully in compliant with our land use bylaw, but try to catch as many issues as early on before it goes to them as possible. So yeah, that's where we're at for the month. Hopefully July's a little busier with construction season coming up.
So you're getting the hang of it, ain't you?
Slowly but surely getting the hang of it.
Yep.
Yeah, getting to learn about all the fun things people want to build.
Any questions on that report?
No, I was just gonna say, I really appreciate them. It's good to see the facts and or those stats and things like that, and I really enjoy that, so. If no other questions, I can make the motion to accept it for information.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to see the numbers there, what's actually going on.
Mhm.
Never really had that in front of us before, so. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor? Okay, next was an addition. Need a motion for subdivision application 25 NL 05. So did you want to speak to this? Aaron?
This is in regards to the Dixonville School subdivision, and what we're looking for is the, isn't it? 0.6, yeah, the Dixonville School subdivision, and the reasons for refusal just to list on their notice of decision. Because before it was a motion to approve, and that was just refused, we'd like to explain why. with it.
So it's basically just an amendment of the motion that was made for denial,
Mhm.
to include the reasons that we listed there, the 4 reasons. And the last reason was probably the most significant one that we're waiting for, although infrastructure, just to let us know what the plans are, or that they are aware of the subdivision of the property, since they are most likely going to take ownership of the property once the school closes down.
So do we just amend the previous motion, or do we have to make a new motion?
If we amend the previous, we can either amend the previous one or just rescind the previous motion and make this new motion.
Probably the cleaner way to do this. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
So we
so,
make a motion to rescind the motion and.
well, then we'll make a
Yeah,
separate
do this.
motion.
Oh,
Should we have it all in one motion, have 2 separate ones, rescind the motion, and then have another one? I don't know what the proper, this is fine to have it all combined, okay,
And I'll look for the motion.
number, and put it in later. Okay, so that clear to everybody that we're just basically adding our reasons for decision, right?
Mhm.
Or denying it, so again, can you share that with Brenda to see?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah,
To them.
I'm in favor of Linda's motion of replacing or adding the notice of decision.
Yep. Okay, I'll call for a vote, all in favor? That's carried. I think that's it, Rob.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, we can go back to the top of the page 2, under Public Works. And Charles, you have a report for us?
I do have a few little verbal additions, because the world is ever changing. Dust control, we're done.
Good job.
Full stop.
So can I just make a comment as we're going on?
Sure.
So I know that there was some residents along the Sunny Valley Road that assumed that they were gonna get dust control until they found out otherwise. And so you granted them an extension if there was enough that came forward to make it worthwhile for the contractor?
Yeah, so they, yeah, there was a slight mishap there, but anyway, we've dealt with it. They've been applied, everything's done, and there was a bit of a administrative nightmare for her, or not administrative, but crew wise, to get everything done, cause there's a reason the deadline's a deadline.
Yeah.
So
But
those,
we got it done.
the initiatives are done then too.
Yeah, everything's done. There was a slight little miscommunication with Town of Manning as to where their dust control was gonna end. So thankfully, before we were gone, it was brought up and we addressed that as well. One thing I do want to point out, because I did receive an email here. And I've dealt with that issue with the resident, but, we do not guarantee the efficacy of the calcium. We put it down as per, standard procedure. But if you see a little bit of dust coming off of your calcium after the fact, that is what it is. I mean, it's not 100%, it's not a paved surface. So, yeah, just want to reiterate the point that just because people receive calcium does not mean that there is going to be no dust anymore.
I think people that live along the Sunny Valley Road can attest to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too, yeah. So, anyway, end of the day, she's all done, contractor's gone. I made that decision to do the Sunny Valley because I didn't want them to have to wait to come here. And then
So
we have to call a truck back and that costs us more money and more headache.
so how far away was the contractor still kind of in the area when
He was still in the area, so it was kind of a snap decision. It was perfect timing, in a sense. But yeah, we got her dealt with.
You did 743, and I noticed our operator doesn't lift or quit at those, so
I can't control that. I beat that into them every year. And cause they did it last year. And I
worked this
don't
year.
have control over them.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether you've had any, I mean, it costs money to these ratepayers and then when they fly through it. Like the other day it was wet, so it didn't hurt it, I don't think, but. I mean, if he grades it all off, then I can see us being the brunt of something, like.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we get into this whole efficacy thing, right? And it not being our road, that's where it poses an issue for us because every year when we do calcium applications on other transportation roads, they require us to apply to them to get permission. So we do. We then forward that list over to the contractor that is working there. And if there's gravel that is needed in that area, transportation purchases that gravel off of us. We put it there if need be. Most times we don't. But yeah, there's something on their end. It's a lack of communication. I'm not really sure, but they don't push that information to their operators.
I think we should be talking to them at least. I've got a problem with a few other things with our operator too, But, I mean, this. It's marked, or well, it was marked, you know, like where they start and end.
Yeah.
We should, or it should be. They're picking up that, you know, these guys aren't wasting.
Yeah.
Their
Well,
money.
all hammered out. Or hammered again to their maintenance guy with
Okay.
transportation specifically. And. That's the best I can do, cause I, like I said, I don't have any control over that.
Yeah, I realize that, but, maybe our ratepayers that pay. You know, whatever, $700 or whatever it is. Are, you know, when they see them grading it off. It isn't too much, you know, that doesn't sit too good, so.
No,
Well, it encourages people to do their own methods of dust control, which is what we see, and then we see used oil hit the road, because that's what our guys do. It's like, well, they're just gonna grade it into the road anyway, so I'll do my own. And then you see used oil on the road.
get started on that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just that's what happens when they take it into their own hands,
No.
and we end up with used oil on the road, right?
And yeah, that's,
For
but yeah,
sure.
I will drive that point home again, here is.
Thank you.
So on 743, it's just in front of residents are doing spots.
Yeah.
So quite a few of them are, I haven't been up to those.
Oh, I forget how many there was, yeah, there was.
8 or 9 actually,
Yeah.
because it was so
And that
bad
was-
last year.
And that was just 743, so we did some on 741 as well. And 690, I wanna say. I think we did some.
Wasn't it uptick this year?
A little bit, there were a few new, yeah, it's usually stays pretty status quo. Some will pick on or come on, and then some will drop off, cause in all reality, it's kind of good for 2 years, but yeah. Any other?
Depending on how much grading it gets.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a gravel haul.
Oh, well, I just did, any other questions on the dust control? Good, we'll talk about that next week. Gravel haul, so we did we're going to be doing a meeting here on Thursday with everybody that's gonna be involved, so the gravel trucks, the loader guys, lead hands, myself, everybody. To hammer out details for the operations that we're going to be having. Mainly to ensure the safety of everything that's happening. With it being in the south this year, higher population brings a higher risk. As well as the fact that we will be crushing, at the same time, we are fully grounded. So we'll get into that. Our plan as of right now is to start Sulphur Lake area. Get that area gravelled, because that's our furthest haul. Get those done, because as you get closer to harvest time, we tend to lose a few trucks. So wanna capitalize on the mass amount of trucks that we'll have. We've got 22, I believe, so far. So fair amount of trucks. Gravel crushing, we had a virtual pre-con on the 3rd, just mainly administrative matters. It was just to get some of the paperwork and the things dealt with, and the reminders to file eco plans, etc. We are going to have one here in a week's time, on site in the pit. Like I said, can't drive it hard enough that the safety in that pit needs to be top notch, because we are going to have a lot of operations happening there. Any questions on gravel haul crushing?
This is from Gillis pit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So last meeting, we had a question about liability on bridges, and what were to happen. Who gets sued if there's an accident on a bridge. Like I say here in my report, investigated a bit, and it's kind of a ambiguous gray area. Nothing's been put through courts or anything like that, but the one thing that I didn't touch on last meeting that I'm going to now is the fact that when we replace a bridge that is no longer an Alberta Transportation Bridge, even though if they fund it through STIP, it now becomes our bridge. So, for example, Wagon Creek that finished up shortly after I got here, that bridge is now ours. Which
But
is-
only on complete redos.
Yeah, complete replacements, yeah. So, yeah. That info was there, I don't know if there's any questions on that.
So to be clear, this bridge, we replaced it at our expense. Right?
That, with the bridge.
This bridge we just mentioned,
Oh, the Wagon Creek
yeah,
Bridge?
yeah, and so,
Yeah,
as a
that was,
result, we own that.
yeah, so that was a step funded project. And it was a big multi-plate culvert, it's, I think 2.7 meter diameter, like a big pipe. And that is now ours.
What's our
It
responsibility?
is our responsibility, it is still registered as a bridge file, so it is still in the provincial database, and it's still, you have to meet the requirements for inspections, etc. And maintenance, all that fun stuff. But it is our bridge, or your guys' bridge, no.
So then in the future, any repairs to that are on us.
Yeah, and we typically do, like even the transportation owned bridges, any maintenance we do, that comes out of our bridge maintenance budget. Because we are responsible to maintain those Alberta transportation structures. Because we're the road authority,
Insurance wise,
but insurance wise, yeah,
it's ours, right? So if something happens on that,
that's the gray area, because insurance wise, if that bridge, you were to drive across Bridge A. And it were to fall into the creek, then. There would be a very large investigation into it to see, well, was it because the county wasn't doing maintenance on it? And if, from what I understand, if that were the case, then the county is liable for it. If it was poor design, poor construction, et cetera, then that falls on Alberta Transportation. But like I said, that's never gone through the court system, so it's, there's no precedent for it, it's just kind of a legal gray area that I hope in my time we never have done. Fucked up how it shakes out. Cause it would be messy, but. Couple other things that I'm gonna add into this report, unless there's any other questions on bridge stuff. North Star Rink, we sold it, as you guys declared it surplus, we auctioned it. It's sold, it's currently being taken apart. The transportation road repairs are, Gerhard and I went out and took a look the other day. He even took a picture of himself and I. They're going really well, for the most part. Took a drive out there today, they're getting into an area where. And just for information's sake, that there's standing water on either side, that whole area is kind of in a bowl. So the water just kind of sits there, and the road was built 40s with trees and whatever material they could find in the ditch that they decided to build. It's kind of a tricky area, so we're proceeding with caution, because certain areas like that, I've seen in the past where you open them up and then you start getting water infiltration into it. Bad things happen. So then, we're getting into a bit of a sticky area there, but we'll keep pushing through. So far, knock on wood, all our road repairs are going swimmingly. Pun intended. Other than that,
It is really, really wet there.
Yeah.
Really like it.
Yeah. So now they're into that swampier area to the south there, so. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we're just proceeding with caution and we'll.
It looked pretty swampy where you were before.
Yeah, it keeps getting worse. The further south you go.
That's it, going up to the ski hill?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manning Ski Hill.
It's very swampy more area out there, so.
Yeah. So we're got high hopes.
Yeah, no. Really good. Any other questions for Garrett or Charles, his report?
I'll move that.
Okay, Councillor Reese moves to acknowledge receipt of the DPW report, accept information, all in favor? Okay, next. Oh, yeah,
Oh, we're not done with.
yes, you got this request for decision, the next item. Was it a?
Yeah, so this is the one that I kind of at the end of last meeting said that I might email out to you, but then I realized that we had a meeting on the 8th, so follow with it. So we tendered the installation of the prefabricated structure for Smith Mills Road, bridge file 72589. 2 submissions, one Ruskin construction and one from Formula Alberta. As detailed here. So originally the estimation was $578,640. So we're a little under what our estimated is compared to Formula's number. Yeah, to date, we got 290,000 into the project. This is again a STIP project, just so you know, so 75% funded by Alberta Transportation Economic Corridors. Any other questions? I'm happy to field.
So are they gonna get this done before school starts and before harvest starts?
Before school starts for sure. It'll only take a couple weeks to do it, so.
That was my question.
Yeah, I'm anticipating it'll be done before harvest.
Do you have a start date?
Not off the top of my head. We haven't, once it gets awarded, I can bring you guys more information. on that.
Okay.
Should be soon though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean. We're not
There-
waiting until the end of August, so you'll have to just email us an update once you know.
Yeah.
I can
That's fine.
definitely do that.
Great.
Something too, just as a side note, is Formula has been doing work in the area, so. They're fairly close by.
Good, no, we always like to see these things come in under estimated budget, so. Give them a
Me
little
too.
slush fund there, you can fix some more soft spots maybe. So any final questions? Otherwise, get a motion to acknowledge receipt of the tender, for the bridge and accept the information. Award the tender, I guess we're actually awarding it to the Formula. Okay, Councillor Thies makes a motion. All in favor? Zero. Thanks, Charles.
Thank you, council.
Okay, we can move down to community services, 6.6.2, couple of additions. So there's a CCAP funds reallocation request.
Yes.
It's stream online. Well, she comes. Come on up.
It's easier to hear you when I'm in. Hello. All right, so we have a request from the Battle River Egg Society to reallocate $3,000 of the CCAP funds they've received earlier this year towards a different project available through ACERP. It would be utilizing the funds to match the full amount of funding available through the grant for a different project. Josh did reach out to me via text when he had a little bit of cell service and said that he was okay with reallocating the $3,000 from CCAP towards this project. And I want to say it has happened in the past before. People have had to discovered something else and had to allocate a certain amount of funds from the original application to cover the rest of the project or a different aspect of the project. So.
No, it's a good idea. They can leverage it to give a grant, right?
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's gonna affect their roofing project or no.
No, it's quick chat with Dion and
Joe, projects will be completed fine.
I think it makes sense, so they can get some grant money by doing that, so.
Motion.
Can you make that motion? Okay, Councillor Dick moves, acknowledge receipt of the CCAP reallocation request and grant permission to the River Ag Society to reallocate $3,000. Any further questions? All in favor? Brenda, you're okay with that?
Yes, I'm in favor of that.
Good. Okay, next one is item B, another addition, council grant request.
Yes, so the Manning Minor Ball U18 boys is requesting $5,000 to help with travel costs to attend provincial ball playoffs at the end of the month. Initially, they applied to the Recreation Board, but the Recreation Board, again, does not have the funds to fund the request. So it's been forwarded to council for consideration. The organization will be submitting a letter of request to the town of Manning for financial support as well. I'm not sure, to the town of Manning as well. So they'll submit a financial request to the town of Manning as well.
For equal amount or?
I'm not sure, she didn't specify. It was a little last minute. Let's try and get this in here before you guys went on your just missed one meeting break. So the location of the playoffs hasn't been announced because the rest of the tiering games have not been completed. So travel could be, you know, anywhere from 2 to 3 hours away to like way down in southern Alberta. So the travel expenses will vary.
So they want
They want $5,000 to put towards travel expenses.
I'd like to know if Manning is going to be giving them 5,000 or is it 2,500? So you know what I'm saying?
So they're requesting 5,000 from us. I don't know what they'll be requesting from the town of Manning. Unfortunately, with the timeline of when the playoffs are, and we don't have another meeting before then. Yeah, we don't have.
It looks like their total cost is 5,000.
Their estimated cost, yeah, is gonna be 5,000.
Looks like they're asking us for overall the whole thing.
So. I mean, we've done this with hockey before, I'm not sure what all, I don't remember, but this is quite common. I mean, we can, I'm certainly open to donating some, but I don't know if we have to cover the whole cost. Maybe it should be some other responsibility from. But that's just my thought, what the council wants to do. I mean, we have 30,000 left in council grants. I mean, we're mid-year now, so.
I would say 2,500. Throw
You read
the
that?
back on them to raise a little more.
You read my mind.
I'll make a motion, 2,500.
Hey, Councillor Reese, acknowledge receipt of the grant funding request and donate $2,500 to Manning Minor Ball. The funds coming from.
I just want to,
Yeah,
can I
go
say
ahead.
something? I just want to say I'm not in favor of this, because I may be if it was in our region, but being there traveling way down south, I don't think, I'm not in favor. Anyway.
So just a quick note that traveling to regional, provincial, and national or international events is eligible under
Okay.
the recreation and cultural funding policy, as well as it's outlined on the application.
Okay.
And so Brandon, just to comment, like I said, we fund minor hockey teams going to provincials throughout the province.
True. I guess.
In my municipality, so.
Okay.
This would be very parallel to that. Okay, so the motion is there. Any further discussion, questions? Go for the vote, all in favor? Brenda, you're.
I'll vote in favor since it's not the
Okay.
full amount.
All right, thank you. That's good. Thanks, Trinity.
Thank you, council.
Now we can move down to 7.0, council board reports. Where for your acceptance? Motion to accept them, council board reports. Councilor Chun, all in favor? Carried. Info package, have one addition to it, 2 additions to it.
I'll make a motion.
Pardon me?
I'll make a motion.
Motion
to accept.
Okay, Councillor Howard moves to accept the info package for information, all in favor? It's carried. Open mic.
Did we miss our presentation today? I guess that there wasn't enough time.
No.
No, he just didn't show up.
Oh, okay.
The delegation we were talking
Yeah,
about.
that was.
Just was a no-show. Anything else, Dan?
For the Colonel Country, meeting, when and where was it?
In Grimshaw last night.
Pardon?
In Grimshaw last night,
Yeah,
for meeting room,
Where in Grimshaw?
at the town of Grimshaw meeting room.
Oh, the Kennedy event. And you said that, this would probably focus on wards 1, 2, and 3, is that correct?
Yeah.
Because it's in sun.
Same vicinity.
All right, and what do you mean by goal focus? Like what would joining accomplish?
I just think we're all working together to accomplish good goals. It's everybody rowing in the same direction. We're trying to take a regional approach to encompass everything and no man left behind.
Good enough?
That's it. Yep.
Just a brief clarification. I've got to do an update on the group page. Is it safe or accurate for me to say that council has agreed to hold a plebiscite and the questions to be determined later?
Always has been the goal was to hold the website. That was Brent's motion that we passed. That we agreed in principle to have it. We just didn't set a hard time on it, so. That we'll discuss at the next meeting and hopefully then we can formulate the questions, so yeah.
So that's not going to affect the fact that your meeting's at the end of August, because Gerhard had said before that the questions had to be in by the first of August, 6 weeks before the writs dropped. So that's not going to affect that at all?
It should be still in time.
Okay, so it'll be fine that way. Okay, I just want to thank the councillors who showed up at the presentations, much appreciated. Thank you.
Decision on delegation, so we only have the one delegation and we kind of told them verbally that we would research their kind of request for what do you call it, support or partnership, support, I guess, no partnership, so we want to supply a writing to them just to indicate that that'll happen, or you can communicate with them.
I'll communicate with them, because what we basically want from them is to apply to have a tower erected at this site. So it needs to be more from their side coming to us, but I want to put up the tower at that Gauge facility.
Yeah, so really, it's kind of an administration dealing with them. They need to show them your plan, and then you can bring that plan back to council.
Like we did with the tower in the yard.
Yeah.
Which council.
And so if you think you're in favor of them putting it in here for free for a month or so, they're gonna be sad, or?
I've recently reached out to Axia to actually increase our internet speed, because at the moment we are at absolute max. We are looking at increasing the speed from, I think it's 25 megs or 30 megs, I'm not sure at the moment, and we're going to increase it to at least 250 megs, so it should be at least 10 times the speed of what we have, and that will still be more or less for the same price that we pay for the previous 5 years contract or at place start at 50 megs.
So they have the capability of doing that increase 10 times?
Yes, they can actually go up to 1 gig on the fiber side of it, but that then becomes a little bit too expensive for us. So we're busy investigating which is the best sweet spot for us. The big concern we have with wireless is, since we're doing our backup to Valley View, I think it is. It's almost like a dark fiber link that we're doing the backup link over. So it's not just internet that they are providing. There's actually a connection between here and Valley View we also utilize. So it is a good backup, but we already have for the rental of the tower space, we're already getting, it's not installed yet, but we will be getting a radio link from Arrow for that.
So when you
use as a backup.
You bring the report back to council and you find out if they can increase to 250 and what the cost difference would be, and
it would be more or less the same price.
so you know what that is, and
Yes.
then do you have a comment?
I was just wondering how much we plan on handling this, kind of what they're planning and asking us to
As far as I understand, they only want the footprint to put the tower down, they don't want any monetary involved.
That's what I understood too.
We don't fund private industry, so.
That's what I want to make sure.
I mean, they'll be responsible for bringing power over to their tower and being, I don't know, how you put a separate meter in or how you do that, but, I mean, it's pretty, like, be similar, they're also doing here, right? So,
Gerhard, you and I could talk about this later, but, one of the concerns that we have is public works. Is when those AB North towers were functional in Dixonville area, we had a terrible time reading meters for rural water programs. So
we're talking about Charles.
reading meters, like water meters.
Interference.
Yeah, so what would end up happening was AB North would shut their tower off for 2 minutes. We'd get all of our meters done, and then they turn it back on. If they didn't, it took us upwards of 3 to 4 hours to get every meter read, and then some ended up getting missed anyway. So that's something we just need to make sure that they're not.
But it's actually good that you tell me that, because most of those frequencies are in the licensed band.
Yeah.
So they need a license, and I would be very nervous if the license issuer, the province.
Yeah.
Issued a license on the same frequency in the same area, because that means they didn't do their due diligence in that.
Cause that was one of the things we checked with Errol. Because that was. The ones we were like, we don't wanna have to go through this thing.
You know, I know when we had AB North at home and it wouldn't work, oh, do you have a baby monitor in the house? No, we don't. Oh, do you have a, you know, graduate? All sorts of things are on the same frequency. That was their excuse anyway, that was interfering with it. It was just a terrible system and.
That's probably the unlicensed band, so there's the 2.4 gigahertz, and there's even your microwave operates on the same frequency. So that's the unlicensed band, that's the free ball.
Well, I guess there's a discussion with I Want Wireless and if they want to proceed with this on our property, but.
Yeah, we just need to check and see what frequency they're on, because. One thing too, just before we close out, is I am so good, I found out when our completion of this bridge should be. It should be complete no later than August 31st.
August 31st?
Yeah. That's just how good I
Hang on, Josh.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh, Keg River's done.
You looked at it all.
No, I keep trying to get up there, even though you brought me with coffee. Friday, that's my plan anyway. See if it holds up through Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay, we finished before we even call adjourn at 11:46. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the summer. Nice to see you back here in August.
Yep, bye everyone, have a good summer.
Charles, nice to meet you all.
So.
I just wanted to go on with the GIS. Something that I wanted to.
Oh, for sure.
GIS.